all lying around this particular area which was impacted. There is no crater which is leading people to wonder what sort of perhaps explosive or what sort of inflammatory material was used. I want to bring in Major Arya on that question. Major Arya, and of course we have with us former DIG BSF NND Dubey. Mr. Dubey, what do you think is the nature of the inflammatory material that has set off this blast?
Actually, the entire effect which I couldn't visualize, it's because of the wave. That's a side wave. And one thing which is coming out, that the vehicle was moving. So if the vehicle is moving, then thinking of a crater immediately at the point of blast may not be possible. And it's only the inflammatory material used in the charge what has been used, if it is a blast, because still the lips are very tight of the agencies, whether they are not coming out clearly whether the entire incident was as a result of the blast. It's only the casualties and the pattern. But I could see one of the visual for one of the media. I mean, a major body part was blown just beyond 200 yards from the place of incident. So it's very surprising, because the impact would have been so huge that such a major part of the moving.
So are you saying, Mr. Dubey, that it could not have been an ordinary LNG cylinder?
That is my point. That that may not be ordinary cylinder or any battery or electronic type of thing. It must contain some charge, some explosive material, which can create this type of a devastating effect that is thrown throughout the complete panel of the car more than 200 meters away. And the injuries also. Now the thing is that by this time, police must have seen the bodies of those unfortunate victims and also the injured people. That will also give some pattern that what kind of explosive it was. So I think that is not coming out. It should come out soon. But I have seen that plank of the complete body, there were the cuts. There were many cuts in the body. It was not exactly the hole, but it was a sharp cut. Lacerations. It was not a blunt thing which, yeah. So that is one panel I could visualize, but still I'm not very sure, because it will unnecessarily make the issue very sensational. But I am very sure that my hunch says that it's going to be a terror attack.
Okay, this is a terror attack. That's what we're hearing from our sources. Major Arya?
Rahul, this is exactly what I said around 10 to 15 minutes back, that it doesn't look like, see the complete, this area of devastation, plus the side of the door being thrown almost 200 yards. It can't be an LNG cylinder blast, because that is pretty small, right? Okay. And it is basically inflammable. What happens is that in any explosive, this thing is caused by some sort of an explosion. See, it's very early for me to say, it could be any conjecture that, it could be this or that, it could be plastic. I don't know. Nobody knows. But the way it looks on screen, the images that you're seeing.
So let me ask you, Major Arya, this is an important point, because if there is the element of terror, and there is nefarious, obviously a design to create some sort of a problem.
Yes.
The fact that it has happened in the union capital, does that change anything? Does that mean that there may not have been an overt angle that goes back all the way to Pakistan, or is that not something that we can sort of divorce from the conjecture and overall thesis? Does location matter? That's what I'm asking.
See, absolutely. Location matters 10x. I mean, this is the capital of India.
Yeah.
Of course, location matters. There is no doubting that. Also, this whole thing about whether the people are from India or whether you've done it are Pakistanis, it doesn't matter. The guy, the suicide bomber who did Pulwama was an Indian. Yeah. He was not a Pakistani. And we conducted Balakot. Adil Ahmad Dar was his name. So it doesn't matter. If there is any thread which is tied to Pakistan, anything that joins this to Pakistan, it could be an email, it could be a phone call, it could be radicalization, it could be money, it could be material support, it could be training. Right. Anything that joins this explosion to Pakistan, I think then we are talking about something else altogether. There is a big if, but if it does, then we are talking about something totally different.
then we're talking about something totally different. Because remember, we've been always told that Operation Sindoor is ongoing, Dr. Ranganathan. That's what we were told. Of course, there were many people who said that perhaps we shouldn't have called it off, because it's very unlikely that Pakistan is going to change its stripes. And of course, the nature of this horrible gratuitous terror is religious. I mean, there is no running away from that. And I want to ask you your views on this, because I know that you have some very clear thoughts.
Good evening, and good evening to my fellow panelists. First of all, my very sincere condolences to the families of the bereaved. This is an absolutely terrible occurrence that has happened. And as you rightly said, it's too early perhaps to conclusively say one way or the other whether it was a natural explosion that happened in a car because of a CNG blast or whatever it may be, or whether it was a terror blast. But 3 or 4 things have come in the last few minutes from other channels as well. I think the car registration number has been publicized by a television channel, and the name of the owner has been publicized. The other thing that has come is traces of ammonium nitrate have been found. Some people are speculating that. On the other side, what also has come is that the explosion occurred at the boot of the car. That's where the CNG cylinder is, and that there were no shrapnel wounds on the victims or on the survivors. So it's very early to say, what is the reason for this blast. Having said that, at the end of the day, one thing is also true, that when you have a normal, unfortunate occurrence of a blast that happens through an accident, you don't have the Home Minister visiting the site within 20 minutes. You've had many CNG or cars catching fires or EV batteries exploding in cars. That happens routinely in India, in Delhi. You don't have within 20 minutes.
And you don't have the Prime Minister immediately tweeting when there is an incident of this nature. So the Prime Minister has put out a post saying condolences to those who have lost their loved ones in the blast in Delhi earlier this evening. May the injured recover at the earliest. Those affected are being assisted by authorities. Reviewed the situation with the Union Home Minister Amit Shah Ji and other officials. So clearly there was a need to do this. Just stay on with me, Dr. Ranganathan, Major Arya, and Mr. NND Dubey. I'm going to go across to Akash, who's there with us. Akash, if you can hear me. Akash, can you hear me? Am I audible? Yeah, this is now a ex-post put out by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He says that he has spoken to the Union Home Minister. The review of the situation has been undertaken. Other officials he's in touch with. This does now appear to be something more than just an ordinary cylinder blast, isn't it?
Oh yes, Rahul, indications are coming from the administration that it is more than just, a CNG blast or, a battery blast of e-rickshaw. Because right now, in fact, on the spot, I'm showing you the visuals where you have the senior crime branch officials, discussing, in fact, seeing the images in their phone. In fact, we have FSL team, NIA, and in fact, multiple agencies. I'm showing you the visuals from the spot where at around 7 p.m. today, we had this incident reported at around 7:29. DFS said that the situation was in control, but right now, what we are learning, and in fact, indications are coming from the authorities that this is more than just an ordinary explosion in any sort of vehicle. Also, in some time from now, we are expecting Home Minister here at the spot, and right now the whole area has been cordoned off. In fact, I'm showing you the visuals. The bus that was very much present, at that point in time here, and that's why we are seeing this bus here. In fact, 150 meters away from the particular area, the particular spot where I'm standing right now, we have, the explosion site where we are given to understand that, it was a slow traffic and this explosion has happened in one car. Anvish Nivasa, in fact, is reporting that how it has happened in a car. And, one suspect was in custody, we were reporting earlier. But right now, I'm showing you the visuals where we have heavy police deployment. And the, agencies right now investigating, explosion. We are learning that all of them have been shifted to the hospital. But right now, we are, in fact, expecting Home Minister, here on the spot in some
Also,
time.
Akash, let me just stop you there. I just want to ask you this. Following the blast near the Red Fort metro station, the central Industrial Security Forces issued a high alert across the country, including airports, Delhi Metro, heritage sites, government buildings, other key installations under its security cover. That wouldn't be happening, would it, ordinarily, had this just been a cylinder explosion?
Happened, you see, Rahul, in the last 48 hours, we had those recoveries. In fact, thousands of kilos of explosives, in fact, recovered from, in fact, the Faridabad, the J&K, and the Saharanpur angle. We have been reporting since morning, and then this explosion is happening where, agencies, in fact, sources within the agency are somewhere indicating that this is more than just an ordinary blast, possibly a terror angle, and that's why NIA is here, in fact, Rahul. And that is also a reason why we have this sort of alert coming from CISF, and in fact tweet coming from Prime Minister himself, where he is talking about this sort of blast and the losses to the property and life. In fact, once again, there you have the FSL team. There you have the FSL team on the site, very much in fact taking a look on the sort of destruction that has happened because of this explosion. And right now I'm showing you the visuals from this particular area. This is the Red Fort area of Delhi, where we have reported an explosion late evening today. And in fact, the situation, while is in control right now, investigation is happening as to if it was just an ordinary explosion or some sort of terror angle was there to it. We have in fact blood splattered across the area. In fact 200 meters we had blood splattered, and in fact a number of things, destruction. And also the eyewitnesses are somewhere indicating, Rahul, that it was a loud sound because of which in fact they were in shock as to what has happened, and they came out suddenly. And then we had several individuals who were present injured and were shifted to the hospital. There I'm showing you the visuals. FSL team basically taking a look at the sort of destruction that has happened, making points. And also I have officers, I'm showing you the visuals, officers from the crime branch discussing on the sort of images that they have gathered, in fact the images in their mobile phones as to what might have happened. In some time from now we'll get clarity. In fact the police commissioner has said that how this explosion has happened in one car, and we'll get some sort of clarity in some time from now, possibly by tomorrow. We'll have some more clarity, but right now everyone is waiting for Home Minister who is all set to arrive at this particular site.
Well, we might even have an update once he's there. And so I just want to go back to Major Arya and Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, look, let's suspend belief for just a few moments, and let's go along with the conjecture. Now, there is a problem here. We've had a situation where in the last 48 hours, individuals who are supposed to save your life, doctors, have been found as heralds of the apocalypse. I'm sorry to say, but that is a very serious turn. And it sort of lends a huge different perspective on what is really transpiring.
No, absolutely. And of course, all of us realize that this debate right now, this question is removed from what is happening right now at the Delhi Red Fort, because this concerns something else. And the answer is, Rahul, you can't do anything. You can't do anything unless you are ready to confront and address three facts. Number one, the first truth, there is no such thing as radical Islam. Rahul, if I read and follow chapter and verse of the book Biochemistry by Leninger, do I become a radical scientist? And every single time the apologists cringe at violence or retribution being ordered, they bring out the excuse or context or interpretation in order to hide the true meaning. In fact, it is the Muslims who are Islamophobic. That is, they fear Islam. They fear to bring out the orders and the commandments of their holy book in its entirety on Jews, Christians, polytheists, homosexuality, apostasy, heresy, dress code, wife beating, blasphemy, because they fear being called illiberal and hypocrites. So they end up condemning and branding as radicals the Muslims who are faithfully following the fundamentals. In a sense, they snare the fundamentalists but spare the fundamentals. Look, what is the essence of azan amplified through the loudspeaker 5 times a day? Quote, no one has the right to be worshipped but Allah 4062. You would have called this radical and supremacist if you didn't know this is from the holy book. Do not take disbelievers as friends unless they convert, and kill them if they refuse. 489. Those who deny the Quran, their necks will be shackled. 4070. Polytheists are the worst of creatures. 98.6. Do not marry polytheist women unless they convert. 2:21. Those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire. 456. Are these not radical enough for you? Number two, the second truth. Terrorism has a religion. When Pahalgam terrorists demand a recitation of Islamic kalma, check the ID cards of tourists, pull down trousers to condemn only kafirs. Terrorism has a religion. When Kashmiri Hindus are butchered, driven out, terrorism has a religion. When in Nadimag, 23 unsuspecting Kashmiri Hindus are lined up and shot point blank, terrorism has a religion. When 2611 Taj Hotel guests are spared if they recite the Kalma, terrorism has a religion. When slogans raised from mosques, Ralif, Salif, Galif, death to Kafir, Nizam-e-Mustafa are made to drive away only Hindus, terrorism has a religion. When millions attend funerals of terrorists, when ISIS flags are unfurled in Jamia Masjid, terrorism has a religion. Number 3, the third truth. Different laws divide, not unite. Rahul, let's accept it. There is a parallel world that is inhabited by millions of Muslims, a world where they are not bound by rules, morality, ethics, propriety, by which the rest of us are bound by. Because their morality, ethics, conduct is not dictated by man but by God. Not for nothing did Dr. Ambedkar say, quote, Islam is incompatible with local self-government because the allegiance of a Muslim does not rest on his domicile in the country which is his, but on the faith to which he belongs, unquote. And we have accepted it. Let's accept it. Rahul, when you accept religions that exhibit predatory, supremacist, exclusivist views and practices, when you grant separate laws and freedoms to their followers, you are sowing the seeds of irreversible division. You are turning appeasement from welfare to warfare to warfare. So you have blatantly anti-Hindus laws like the POW, RTE, Endowment Acts. You have blatantly pro-Muslim laws like the Waqf Act. You have terrorists, PFI, cadres and rioters being released. And that is when you reach a situation where you are scared as a nation. Because if development and prosperity brought peace, Middle East would be like Dubai. But is it? So there we have it. As long as we are afraid to confront these three truths, you can't do anything.
You can't do anything, says Dr. Ranganathan. Of course, he's not talking specifically about this. These are more visuals coming in, viewers, from the LNJP hospital. Let's try to boost the audio and the NAT on those. Do we have any NAT? Okay, so there you can see, viewers, one of the patients clearly injured, and the Union Home Minister Amit Shah looking over him, talking to the doctors, inquiring about the exact situation there, patting the young man on the shoulder, saying that, look, my wishes are with you and I hope you get better. So that's one of the wards, viewers, that has been set up, obviously, to cater to all these individuals who are there, injured in the way they are. Some people are wanting to get up and talk to the Union Home Minister. There you can see another individual, another patient who has been removed from this particular site. On the right, viewers, you can see of your screens a badly injured tuk-tuk driver. There you can see him. Terrible situation, viewers. He's trying to take his tuk-tuk out of harm's way. Even in that condition, viewers, he's trying to hang on to his tuk-tuk, and the remains of the other vehicles you can see on the right, viewers. This was a devastating blast. Several individuals are lying there injured, over 20, 10 are dead. Viewers, the last time we had casualty figures such as this was back in 2011. Then there was a grievous blast outside the High Court. After those rounds of the ward, you can see the Union Home Minister talking to some of the doctors. There he's now talking to more injured, trying to get a sense of really what happened. The injured explaining to him what they thought they saw. You can see that individual holding his right ear, clearly injured there above his ear. Blood splattered on his vest. Clearly in a very poor state, viewers, and getting attention from, of course, the doctors there. So these are the devastating scenes that we are confronted by, viewers. I want to go across to Anvit, who's there at the site of this particular attack, or rather this, I don't know what to call it now, viewers, because clearly there is something much more than what appears to be the case. I just want to go across to Anvit. Anvit, what can you tell us? And then Dubey also there with us. Yes.
Rahul, I'm at LNJP hospital right now, where injured have been brought, and Amit Shah, the Home Minister, is here. And the other gate, his cavalcade is there, and ambulances are being used to enter the hospital from this gate. You can see many ambulances are parked inside, and all the injured are being rushed there. Even now, ambulances are coming, rushing to the hospital. So it means the casualty figures are still rising. Clearly speaks. And Amit Shah is here, Delhi CP is here, senior other officials of Delhi police are here who have accompanied CP Delhi. He had arrived here ahead of Home Minister Amit Shah. And the death toll, we are being told, has risen to at least 13, while number of injured is also rising because it's continuously ambulances are rushing into the hospital. Now, as far as the investigation in this case is concerned, police are on the spot, senior officials. In fact, other agencies are also there. Now, I'm sure it has already been seen as a multi-agency probe. And what certain things that from the investigation have been shared with us by the Delhi police is that they have told us that it was an I-20 car that had slowed down in a heavy traffic and then explosion took place. We are also being told that it was the rear side of the vehicle that blew up, and it damaged at least 6 to 7 vehicles in its vicinity. Hundreds of people who were there heard the explosion, and many of them sustained injuries, many of them
Number
fatal
of them
as well.
viewers been brought to the LNJP hospital. Thank you, Anvit. I'll just come back to you in just a few moments. Stay with us. We are waiting word from the Union Home Minister. He says that preliminary reports are coming into him and he's going to be able to give us some indications of what now the authorities believe this is. I don't think anyone is in doubt of the fact that this is something a little more than just an accident. Akash.
Oh yes, Rahul, you see, when this incident happened, initially the reports came that it's just an ordinary blast, but right now we are getting several sort of other inputs too, where in fact Anvit is reporting that how, it was an I-20 car where this explosion has happened. And in fact, CP just a while back was reporting about, this sort of explosion where the traffic was slow. It was a regular Monday evening here in this particular area. And this area, Lala Lajpat Rai market is there. In fact, this whole area is known for the electrical, appliances and the sort of, equipment that we see here. And every day, we see a lot of people coming here from not just different parts of the national capital, but also from the country, since they come here for the Red Fort. And that's when this incident happened, where, we are learning about this sort of explosion. Intensity was very high. In fact, a loud sound was heard by people. In fact, this particular spot, if I, want to give an idea as to what this road and where this leads to, on this particular side, we have, in fact, the Old Delhi railway station. And whenever you are coming from Old Delhi railway station to Red Fort, this particular place comes. This is the Lala Lajpat Rai market, and on the left side we have the Red Fort. And this road leads to, in fact, the Delhi Gate and the LNJP area. In fact, if we walk towards this particular road towards the Old Delhi railway station, we have around, 4 to 5 spots where blood is splattered, and in fact 400 to 500 meters, in fact, from the very spot where this explosion happened. And this shows somewhere the intensity. Right now, we know the premise that this blast has happened in one I-20 car. But what was the nature of it? What was the composition of the sort of, things that were used in the blast is something that is under investigation. And we have multiple agencies, NIA, Crime Branch, in fact, the Delhi Police, very much here investigating. In fact, the FSL team is, in fact, noting all the basic details of the sort of destruction that has happened. In some time from now, Home Minister is possibly going to give a soundbite where he will be talking about the initial details, the preliminary investigation, and we'll get some sort of clarity. But right now, there are several sort of theories that are going around. In fact, we were talking about the sort of things that have happened in the last 48 hours, the sort of recoveries that have happened from Faridabad, Jammu Kashmir, and also Saharanpur. And people are somewhere connecting the dots. But right now, we'll wait for the investigation. And as I can see, we have police officials discussing, several sort of things, several sort of images from the particular spot. We'll get some sort of clarity in some time from now, Rahul.
Well, clearly, viewers, it's clearly something a lot more than just a CNG blot. Let me just go straight across to Anshul. Anshul, yes. Anshul, can you hear me? You have an update for us. Anshul, can you hear me? Okay, we don't quite have him right now. Viewers, let me just quickly go across to YC Modi, former DG NIA. Mr. Modi, what do you make of this? Can we now, at least now, see or say that this is a lot more than a CNG explosion?
Yeah, the signs are that it may be a terror attack, though it would be too early to, because it was a moving vehicle. Then
there must be a suicide bomber as well, because the vehicle who was driving, things are not clear. But we have to see the background. Last week in Faridabad district, uh, one Dr. Mohammad Muzmil was arrested and by Kashmir police, and ammonium nitrate uh, powder, which was very inflammable, was recovered, and around 3,000 kgs of material which could be converted into pure ammonium nitrate was also recovered. Some weapons were also found, and involvement of a person of who is a qualified doctor, the person belongs to Kashmir. So it is all these developments create a doubt, serious doubt regarding this blast, and it appears to be from the signs which I could understand till now, it is a terror attack, though nothing I'm sure can be said at this stage. Uh, we have to see that when some group is caught, it may be possible that they might have already supplied this material to other people, other participants of this group. So those people,
Okay.
after coming to know that there are uh, other persons involved have been arrested, so they might have taken this as a chance.
Well, viewers, what we can tell you is that preliminary investigations have revealed that the I-20 belongs to an individual. It has a Haryana registration plate. We're going to try to get you more confirmation of who that individual is, but we're being told that the police have been able to put a name. Whether he was driving the car or not, we don't quite know. But I just want to go straight across now to Akash. Akash, what can you tell us about the individual who was driving this vehicle, or the owners of the vehicle, or even the registration of the vehicle? Akash, can you hear me? Do we have him? Okay, we're going to try and go across to Akash, who's there in our frame, in just a few moments. I just want to tell our producers to make sure that all the reporters are constantly linked in so that we can go around to them and get the latest updates. I just want to quickly go across to Sushant Sareen. Lieutenant General KGS Dhillon will be joining us in just a few moments. Sushant Sareen, what do you make of this?
Well, initially, it looked like I was ready to accept that probably some kind of a CNG explosion, but given the scale of devastation, I've never seen a CNG tank explode and create so much of devastation. So look, I agree that it's good that the government is being cautious before calling it a terrorist attack. They're not jumping the gun. There's no knee-jerk reaction. Uh, that's the sensible way to do things. But I think it has the hallmarks of certainly of a terrorist attack. Secondly, we still don't have all the information. It's coming out in dribbles, and we are trying to make sense of it. I and General Dhillon were on another channel just before we joined you, and this is what General Dhillon was on the mark when he said that, look, let's not jump the gun on many things, and I completely agree with him. But the information which is coming out so far is coming out from government sources itself about the car, the identification of the car, that it is a moving car, how many people, was there one person, in which case, I think I was hearing Mr. Modi speak before me. He said if it was one person, it's certainly the possibility of a suicide attack. But if it was more than one person, was this an accidental blast, that the explosives were put in that car because somebody had prematurely declared victory in the morning and said that they've, impounded all the explosives in that Faridabad raid, and that now, everything was settled. And obviously, some people got spooked and were running away and trying to find some kind of a safe haven. Again, like I said, we are in the realm of speculation. But if 4 or 5 guys died in that blast because they were sitting in the car, probably an accidental one, because I have not heard of a single case of 5 suicide bombers blowing themselves up in one go, sitting in one car. They are stupid, that's why they become suicide bombers, but they're not that stupid that they'll waste 5 suicide bombers on a single attack
Okay.
and blow them to smithereens. So,
Okay, well, nothing can be ruled out, viewers, simply because the government hasn't ruled out anything. So everyone is conjecturing. On the right, viewers, NSG commandos now at that spot. I just want to go quickly across to Anshul. Anshul, what's the latest? And I want to bring in General Dhillon right after. Yes, Anshul.
So the NSG teams have just hit over here, and they have gone towards the spot where the entire incident had happened, and they have just reached over there. This is another part of an SOP that is being followed over here. There is a lot of echo that is happening. I'll ask the producers to please correct this. The NSG teams have just reached over there. They are trying to look into the entire spot where the said incident has happened. You can see that there is another team of NSG that are trying to reach the spot at this point in time, because the roads are barricaded from both the sides, and hence it is getting difficult for the NSG teams to also reach on the spot where the said incident has happened, where the vehicle is parked at this point. So definitely these visuals, I'll just ask my video journalist Ravinder Kumar to zoom in and show you in the visuals that yet again more and more security forces are arriving over here. They are still trying to get the exact details as to what was the exact incident that has happened. If you could just stay on the frame with me, I'll again try and show you the NSG teams that are reaching over here. They are bringing these black suitcases along with them to the spot. They will inspect the entire spot and then come out with a conclusion. What kind of blast was it? Prima facie, what Delhi police experience has been regarding IED blast. It is not seeming like an IED blast according to the Delhi police, but yes, nothing can be ruled out at this point in time. Other agencies are also looking at. Specialists from the Delhi police are also looking into this entire issue, and they will only be able to tell us with conclusive evidences as to what has happened, what was the exact reason of the blast, how did the blast happen, were any explosive used, was any flammable material also used. All these things are being looked into. These visuals on your screen, 4 barricades are being brought on the spot at ground zero. The police is barricading the entire area, turning this absolutely into a fortress at this point in time. So definitely there is a lot of movement that is still happening on ground zero where the blast has happened. The details, the clarity has still not come out. The investigations are still underway. It remains to be seen what kind of blast was it. Was it actually a CNG blast, or was it some kind of new modus operandi that could have been utilized by such forces to carry out these attacks? Because the magnitude of the blast is huge. 10 people have lost their lives. More than 20 people are injured. Definitely the blast would have been a really massive blast, due to which these the casualty numbers are so high. It remains to be seen. In the next few minutes, the Home Minister will be arriving over here as well. What kind of briefing is done to the Home Minister, and what does the Home Minister has to say if at all he chooses to give a bite over here? That is something that is going to be very important.
Well, viewers, even as we speak, there are checks being made in buses and other transit points in old Hyderabad city. So there is obviously high alert across the nation. We are being told that Hyderabad police is on high alert, Srinagar police, Kolkata, Mumbai, Faridabad, Noida, Kerala. Everyone has been sounded out, including the CISF outside various airports, etc. A.K. Jain, former IPS, also here with us. But General Dhillon, what do you make of this? And if this is a terror incident, and there are, of course, connections, if it were to emerge that there were connections with the 2 modules that have been exposed, what do you think is the likely response? How would you view that? And if that is indeed the case, then obviously this is again another cross-border attempt at disturbing the peace. How should we respond? What do you think would be the likely response?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening, fellow panelists and all your viewers. First of all, as Mr. Sreen was saying, I would like to say these are early days. The information is coming in trickles, and there is no confirmed authorized press release or a confirmed report by any responsible authority. The information on which people and channels are basing their assumptions has come from a beat constable or a Thana SHO, or someone who was a eyewitness, or somebody who was just about there. They are not the experts to say whether it's forensically an explosion or IED or a CNG blast or whatever. Till the time an expert confirms it to be this way or that way, I will not hazard a guess, and I will request everyone not to panic. In the morning, we burst a module where very big quantity of ammonium nitrate was recovered. In the evening, this happens. Now, there are reports of one person, 5 people in the car moving, car slowing down. Initially, it was Eco, now it is I-20. Then there, I will not hazard a guess at all because these are sensitive national security matters. I would not like to be party to spreading panic. I would like to believe the people who are doing their job, let a responsible authority come out and say, this is this or that. And then afterwards, we'll work on theories. I can give you 10 reasons on every theory which has been discussed in this channel and others as to why that theory is right or why that theory is wrong. And I can give it convincingly, but I will now, as of now, like to believe that it is an incident which has happened, it has caused deaths, and let's wait for the confirmed response from a responsible authority. Till that time, I think we should hold our horses and be responsible and not spread panic, because there are many people who are stressed, who are under tension as to what's happening. The morning news, evening news, and now this checking. All these checkings going on in various cities and places where the terror incidents can happen or have happened in the past is a part of the standing operating procedure.
Okay, well, we're also getting news that UP ATS is also at the blast site, viewers. Yes, General Saab, you were making another point. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying all these checkings in various cities which have a history of terror incidents are a standard operating procedures of those cities' police departments to avoid any unnecessary panic, as also in case they have some intimation to make sure that citizens are safe. So as of now, I would like to believe that there is an incident which has happened, deaths have happened, and let's not add to the rumors.
And former IPS is also here with us. AK Jain, what's your perspective?
I was also under the impression that it might have been a blast in a standing car. But when police commissioner gave the statement that at 6:52, a small white car, it stopped at a red light and there was a blast and there were people in the car. It makes me believe that it is an accidental blast. After recoveries at Faridabad, people must be shifting the explosives from one place to another, and this might have occurred because nobody is going to give up life like this. There are said to be 3 to 5 people in the car, and they have all died. So they can't be suicide bombers. So in my opinion, this is an accidental blast, and I hope it
No, but are
turns
you
out.
saying, Mr. Jain, that this is more than just an ordinary CNG blast? That this, perhaps some material was being moved and that material exploded, but that would still qualify as an act of terror, would it not, sir?
Yes, it will, but it's not a intended blast. It is not an intended.
कार में एक ब्लास्ट हुआ है और ब्लास्ट के कारण कार और कार के आसपास की 3-4 व्हीकल और खड़े हुए लोग, ऑटो में बैठे हुए लोग इंजर्ड भी हुए हैं और कुछ मृत्यु भी हुई है। अस्पताल के सूत्रों के अनुसार अब तक 8 लोगों की मृत्यु हो चुकी है। कुछ लोग इंजर्ड हैं, इनका इलाज यहाँ पर चल रहा है। हम सभी एंगल को खुला रखते हुए इसकी गहन जांच शुरू कर दी है। जैसे ही ब्लास्ट की सूचना मिली, दिल्ली पुलिस स्पेशल सेल, क्राइम ब्रांच, NIA की टीम, SPG की टीम, FSL की टीम मौके पर पहुंच गई है और सभी प्रकार की जांच हम तेजी से कर रहे हैं। कुछ ही समय में मैं आशा करता हूं कि धमाके का कारण क्या है उसके निर्णय पर हमारी एजेंसियां पहुंच जाएगी और एफएसएल की सीनियर मोस्ट टीम भी यहाँ पर पहुंची। धमाके की सूचना आने के बाद तुरंत ही माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का मुझे फोन आया था। उसके बाद प्राथमिक इंफॉर्मेशन लेकर मैंने प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी ब्रीफ किया है। अभी यहाँ से मैं घटनास्थल पर जाने के लिए निकल रहा हूँ और कल एक बड़े सवेरे ही सीनियर लोगों की टीम के साथ गृह मंत्रालय में बैठक कर इसकी डिटेल जांच की जाएगी।
सर, आपको लगता है कि इस हमले के पीछे, जो ब्लास्ट हुआ, इसके पीछे कोई आतंकी हमला है या कोई भी प्लानिंग यहाँ पर की जा रही है?
देखिए, हम सभी एंगल्स को ओपन रखकर सभी दृष्टि से जांच कर रहे हैं। घटना किस कारण से हुई ये अभी कहना बहुत मुश्किल है। जब तक विस्फोट के स्पॉट पर से जो स्पेसिमेंस मिलेंगे, इसका जब तक एफएसएल का एनालिसिस, एनएसजी का एनालिसिस नहीं होता, इसके बारे में कुछ भी कहना दिक्कत है। मगर हम किसी भी एंगल को बंद नहीं मानते हैं। सभी एंगल का हम दृढ़ता के साथ आगे जांच करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Well, viewers, three very significant points made by the Union Home Minister. We'll replay that soundbite in just a few moments. Number one, all lines of inquiry are open. All angles being investigated. Nothing is being ruled out. And there will be an overview meeting tomorrow at the Ministry of Home Affairs early morning. There's Amit Shah now reaching the site of this blast. There you can see him crossing the police lines there. And he is entering that particular area to get a first-hand overview of what has transpired. On the right, of course, scenes at 3.5 hours ago, viewers, when the blast took place. You can see it was a very high-intensity blast. Now, what caused it? We're being told that it is not just an ordinary cylinder blast. So, what caused it, viewers, what triggered it, remains, however, in the realm of conjecture. Our sources telling us that this is more than what it appears to be, which is more than an accident. Now, how it was triggered remains to be seen. We know that an I-20 suddenly exploded near a traffic light where it was drawing to a halt right outside one of the entrances to the metro station, the Lal Qila or the Red Fort metro station. There's extensive damage, in fact, to the entrance of the metro station, extending all the way down the escalators. Several cars blew up, and you can see the remains of those cars and the chassis, all charred and mangled beyond recognition. More than 10 people, we are being told, are dead. We're still awaiting confirmation, but we are being unofficially told that the death toll has crossed 10. We're also being told that several people are injured, some very critical, and they are being treated at the LNJP hospital in New Delhi, where the Union Home Minister was just visiting. He held a press conference, made 4 points, and I will quickly repeat those to you. All lines of inquiry are open, so nothing has been ruled out. All angles are being investigated, nothing is being ruled out. And there will be an extensive meeting to go over the facts tomorrow, very early in the morning at the Union Home Ministry. Remember, viewers, Delhi's security comes right under the Union Home Ministry at the center. I'm being told that the number of deaths now has crossed 10, and there might be more than a dozen people who might have succumbed to their injuries. So those numbers are still going to be updated, but this is a very, very sad happenstance, viewers, and condolences are going out to those who have lost their loved ones from many leaders across the nation. High alerts have been sounded across many cities. Hyderabad police undertaking intensive surveys and stopping various commuters in the old city as they go past. Srinagar, high alert. Calcutta, Mumbai, Faridabad, Noida, Kerala, all these cities placed on high alert. All major installations where the CISF is deputed from ports to airports have been placed on high alert. And viewers, this particular blast has taken place within 48 hours, of two massive terror modules being exposed by the security forces across different parts of the country in the north and in the west, viewers. And we are being told that huge recoveries of undetonated explosives have been recovered from the individuals who were 4 doctors, viewers, 4 doctors who were, of course, arrested and have been detained. We're also being told that the I-20's owner, the car that was carrying this inflammatory material, has been identified, and that the car itself has a Haryana registration. Anshul, let me go across to him. He's at that site. Anshul, what do you see?
So yes, the Home Minister has just reached over here along with the Commissioner of Police of Delhi, and they are inspecting the exact location where the incident has happened. If you could see in these visuals, very clearly it can be seen that the Home Minister is just now taken an observation of the entire area where the alleged blast happened, and then from there he has been briefed about the findings that have been made by the FSL at this point in time. Definitely a big message coming in from the Home Minister himself, where he is clearly stating that nothing can be ruled out at this point in time. The agencies are looking into this entire issue from each and every angle. The entire national security forces are present on ground zero along with the local Delhi police and anti-terrorist squad of the Delhi police. They are also present. UPSTF is also present over here. So all the agencies are working in tandem to figure out what transpired, what led to this blast. Was this actually just a CNG blast that happened in big intensity, or was there a new modus operandi that was utilized to carry out this blast out here in the national capital? That is something that is being looked into, but definitely nothing is being taken lightly. You can see in these visuals that the cavalcade of the Home Minister has now started to move away from here after he has spoken to the senior officers on the ground. They have briefed him regarding the entire situation, what the investigation has found till now, and in which direction is the investigation going. And now the Home Minister has left from here. He will continue to remain in touch with the top brass of the Delhi police and other agencies who are investigating this entire matter. NSG, NIA, all of them are present over here. The people who have experiences of looking at different kinds of blasts, all of them are present over here to figure out that if at all this is a modus operandi that has been utilized somewhere else as well, or this is first of a kind. If at all this is a blast with that intention, that is something that is being looked into, and that is the reason why none of these agencies are ready to jump the gun or come to any conclusion immediately. They will take their time. They will take the next few hours to carry out this entire investigation in a detailed and evidence-based manner, and then eventually come out with a response as to what led to this blast that happened over here right outside the gates of Red Fort of the national capital.
Okay, well, viewers, confusion over the number of casualties, and we're going to, of course, err on the side of conservatism here because we don't want to overstate the case. But some channels who are putting out numbers may not be accurate, or they might be getting conflicting information. So we're just taking it from official sources, and only after confirmation from official sources flashing the casualty figures. Let's hope that the casualties are low, viewers, because obviously the nation spreads with those who are actually undergoing treatment. There, Amit Shah around the site of the blast, and you can see him taking great interest in what has transpired. This is clearly something that warrants close scrutiny and attention. So if this was just an ordinary cylinder blast, by now we would have known that. So clearly something more than meets the eye there. You can see, viewers, from the impact that this was a powerful explosion. I want to go across to General Dhillon. General Dhillon, the Home Minister himself now not ruling out any angles here, which suggests that perhaps this is more than what we initially conjectured. Sir.
Rahul, Home Minister not ruling out any angle or any theory or any line of investigation is exactly the way investigations happen.
Right.
Never in an investigation you foreclose the line. because you never know after 3 steps what might emerge. So keeping all the lines open and all the lines of investigation open and progressing on every aspect or every theory or every way the investigation goes on is a very matured and professional way of handling an investigation. So that does not mean that this is line A, B, C, or D is the most probable line. Only once the investigating team with professionals and forensic inputs reach a particular level of confidence and the conclusion, then only they will say, okay, this looks most probable. Till that time, all the lines of investigation will be kept open and progressed. It's a very professional way of dealing a situation like this. And at the same time, I would again request, let's not add anything which may cause panic, because it's a serious issue, it's a national security issue. And conjecturing in such a case, I have handled Pulwama blast, which was more or less the vehicles were blown off to pieces and not even traced.
Yes.
So I know firsthand how things happen. But I am also saying, let's not jump to any conclusion. Let's give time to the investigating agencies. They are dealing and leading on all the leads. By the way, the leads not only emerge from the site of the accident or the incident. Leads would be coming in from various intercepts which are being, as of now, being intercepted. They would be coming from various interrogations which are happening with the people who have been apprehended in the morning. And there may be other leads from the background intelligence which would be coming.
Okay.
So not to focus solely on the site of incident, the investigating agencies take these leads from everywhere, and after corroborating in a professional manner, they will come out with the most probable theory or the most accurate theory.
Right. We've been told now, viewers, that a large number of channels who have been flashing figures that have run into over a dozen might have got it wrong. So again, this tells us that one should not leap into taking unverified information and flashing it on your screens. But Dr. Ang, point, I wanted to also bring in Sushant Sareen right after, and of course, Mr. Modi. Yes.
Now, I very briefly want to make 3 points. Number one, I have never seen the Home Minister visit the place of the explosion site and the hospitals where the victims and the injured are after a normal, quote-unquote, routine car CNG explosion. This is unprecedented. I mean, it would be, I don't know what to say. It has never happened. And I've been checking off, the previous last 1 year, there have been 3 major CNG-based explosions in cars, and all of them have happened at the filling stations. So this kind of explosion leaving so much devastation is rare. Now I want to turn to something which, please don't take me wrongly, because I have huge, tremendous respect for our intelligence agencies and the brave officers who are investigating this. And I've been seeing it's been almost 4 hours. Now, if it is, people are saying it could be traces of ammonium nitrate. If the explosion is through ammonium nitrate, then there are very few chances of residues being left, because it explosion leads to nitrogen, oxygen, and water, steam. If at all there are residues left that would point to ammonium nitrate explosion, then the whole area has to be sealed off. And I am actually seeing on various channels people walking in, even some journalists touching the so-called remains of the car. So I think the investigative agency should have sealed it immediately. And number two, it is an I-10. You know the HR number plate that people are saying it is. You know the Faridabad, what happened today, and it's in Haryana with an HR tag. And Delhi NCR is actually the world's most CCTV dense area. There's about 2,000 CCTVs per square mile or per square kilometer. So in 4 hours, I would have imagined one would have traced the origins of that I-20 car, from where it began. If it began from Faridabad, then 2 + 2 is 4. But I would have expected in 4 hours at least that bit of information should have been supplied to the media, if not to the common public.
Well, I mean, there are, of course, inputs coming in, because we've been told that the driver has been identified and so on and so forth. We're just being a little more careful in putting out the name, etc., because, we don't want to suggest that the owner was somebody who was in any way linked to all of this. We don't even know if the I-20 belonged to the person who was driving it. or it was just merely registered and then perhaps stolen. I don't know. We can't get into all of those things, and therefore I think we're being a little more conservative with the information. Sushant Sareen, what do you make to him? Sushant Sareen, I just want to ask you this question. Let's look at the larger plot here. There have been arrests that have taken place over the last 48 hours, and we know that those individuals happen to accumulate the ingredients to make, well, all sorts of weapons. They even had certain firearms. Would this constitute a failure, the intelligence that people have been able to acquire all of this?
Not really. Look, acquiring ammonium nitrate, because that is supposedly the compound that was being or going to be used to rig up the bombs, according to what we've read in the morning. Uh, the fact that you apprehended these guys means that your intelligence was working. And unless, of course, you're ready to buy that somebody saw somebody stick a poster and then, followed one thing after another and finally unraveled this huge mystery, there would be some elements of truth in that. But I would imagine that there was a whole lot of other intelligence work which would have gone in to narrow down on who the culprits
Okay,
were.
1 second. There's some breaking news coming in on that point that we were talking about. Haryana police has detained the owner of the I-20 car. It was apparently a car registered in Gurugram, and it was linked to an individual called Muhammad Salman. We're also being told that this particular car had been sold in Okla, and that the police were also questioning the previous owner of this vehicle. And we are also being told that the reasons for the sale, etc., are also being, in fact, looked at closely, and that Muhammad Salman, the owner of this car, has been taken into custody. So that's what we know at this moment. What does that tell you? Let me go across to Mr. Sareen. Mr. Sareen, what does that tell you?
No, I think, I think one layer after another layer is being unraveled. You got a fix on which the car was. Then from the registration plates, you would have got to know who the owner is. And you immediately gone and picked him up. Now, whether the guy is complicit in whatever has happened or, he is not, is a matter of investigation again. Ideally, the police should not have released his name. They should have said that we found this car, we've got hold of the guy, because you don't know whether he's guilty or he's not guilty. And in the kind of society we live in, if you are going to be labeling somebody as guilty without any evidence against him, except for the fact that his car was involved in a particular incident, an explosion, was his car stolen? Did he file a police complaint? We don't know any of it, right? So ideally, you should not disclose the names of people before investigation has been completed. That is one. Secondly, it's good that you've apprehended the guy. Of course, you will have to investigate the guy, but then let's see where that investigation takes you. Of course, if the guy is complicit, he'll give you a cock and bull story, which most people in India will do when they are caught. But if he is innocent, then follow whatever leads he can give to you. But I think, Rahul, you have to look at it. I don't entirely agree with Anand when he says that, look, if it's ammonium nitrate, there's no way you can trace that. I agree with the point he makes that in 40 years of blast after blast after blast, our security forces, our law enforcement agencies are so terribly trained, and most of all, our journalists and our people are so badly trained that rather than sanitize the bomb blast area and move out of that area, they will all go as tourists into that area to see what the hell's happening. Any journalist who steps into this kind of an area should be fired, ideally. I'm sorry to say this on a news channel, but you actually compromise investigations by spoiling the integrity of you're going to pick up that area. So I think that point of Anand is very well taken. But even there are innumerable cases around the world in which ammonium nitrate has been used, and there are always some trace or the other which you can find out to figure out what the explosive is. So it's not it's not completely, out of the realm of possibility. It's eminently possible that you can find out what exactly was the explosive, and if indeed you can link it up with what happened today. Part of it, the silver lining, if at all there can be a silver lining after a terror attack, if at all this is a terror attack, is that you got hold of a bunch of people who have been involved in this whole thing, so you can get to the bottom of the conspiracy. Just one tantalizing thought I want to throw before you. 2 days back, we heard of a glitch, quote unquote, at Delhi airport.
Yes.
It sounded too much to be a glitch. I don't know whether the authorities have come clean, whether that was a hack, that was not a hack, whether our critical infrastructure has been compromised, it was some kind of a signaling being done to us. Uh, but there are many indications to suggest that there is a serious apprehension that we are being targeted, and not just by these Pakistani scumbags or their junior brothers across the border on the east, the Bangladeshis, but I suppose by who I probably should not be saying, but probably our erstwhile friends, BFFs, whom we imagined them to be, under a very capricious leadership. I shall not name them, but you can use your own analysis to figure out who we are talking about, because there are any number of indications which seem to suggest that there's a lot of hanky-panky happening inside India and on our borders. And suddenly we see a non-issue of sorts being agitated in Chandigarh on Punjab University, and suddenly, trying to give it a uh, different impression of what has happened out there than what actually it was. So I think we need to be very, very careful about national security issues in the days ahead.
Well, I think that point is very well taken, no doubt. I think these are very, very delicate times, viewers. And top sources are telling us that the car had a Haryana number plate and it's been identified and certain people have been linked to it and arrested. Modi ji, what do you believe is perhaps the one theory that you would like to sort of go with at this point, given the fact that we've had the Union Home Minister come out? And I think on the point of the Union Home Minister going to this particular spot, I think it might be also because Delhi comes under his office directly. So if there is an incident of this nature, he perhaps felt the need to go to the spot himself. It isn't, after all, something that is run-of-the-mill. I mean, this is a major, major blast that has taken place, Mr. Modi.
I'd like to say two things. One is regarding HM's visit. I can tell with a lot of confidence that HM is a very hands-on person. He wants to be thorough about everything which is brought to his notice. And his visiting the spot would certainly help him to understand the briefing which he'll be getting tomorrow from officers of different agencies. So I understand that this visit has been made by him, but with this, we can't be 100% sure that it's a terrorist attack. It only shows that importance he is giving to this blast. As far as ownership of car is concerned, I feel it's too early to say. I was closely associated with investigation of Pulwama attack case, where it was the 8th owner. The person who, blasted himself was the 8th person to get a vehicle had been sold 6 to 7 times earlier.
Right.
So whether this number plate business, whether we can come to any conclusion with that number plate, it's too early. Unless we get the chassis number of the vehicle and then we get the details from the company. In Maruti, in that Pulwama case, it was a Maruti Eco, and you won't believe we had to fly engineers of Maruti to Pulwama when they identified one shock absorber, and with that shock absorber we could reach to the vehicle, but it took some time, and it is too early, I personally feel, that to establish that who is the owner and whether he's linked or not. I mean, we should not be speculative about that individual at this stage.
Okay, so General Dhillon, I just want to ask you, the backdrop of this particular incident today has been framed by this crackdown on two modules. Both had doctors. What do you make of this? Are you suggesting that, would you go to the extent of suggesting that Pakistan has still not been deterred, that they will continue to try and undermine India's security, territorial integrity? What do you think is happening there?
Absolutely. Pakistan will never desist from doing things which will be harmful for India's interest. Basically, Pakistan is going to take the attention of the public away from the miseries at home. The economy is failing, their politicians are failing them, the military is failing them, the diplomacy is in doldrums. And after Pulwama, they want to do something pan-India or in the heart of India or near the capital of India, which can suggest that not only Kashmir, the terror is all across India. Pakistan is unnecessarily being blamed for it. That is what they want to project. But the signs, the telltale signs of Pakistani ownership of the module which got busted today and yesterday is very much clear. The weapons recovery, the ammunition, the ammonium nitrate and all that is very clear, and in the due course, the intelligence agencies will come out with proof. And here again, since I was closely associated with Pulwama, I agree with Mr. Gandhi. I didn't want to give out all those details. The Maruti Eco car got identified exactly and specifically after a lot of deliberation. The Maruti people coming there, identifying from a, that spring, that shock absorber. The number plate which we are saying could wear number plate. Any terrorist worth his salt will not use a number plate, original number plate of a car. But having said that, I would still say investigations are going on, and if investigators are not giving out details as of now, they have a reason. They have a reason. They don't want to alert others who may be coming to know from the news channels, as we saw it in the Mumbai attacks. So let's not jump to conclusion. Let's have faith in our investigation. Everything in the best interest of the investigation and the nation. If they're delaying it, they have their reason. If they will give the information at a particular time, that will have a reason. Okay. So I would like to go with the investigating agencies. Actually, the professional agencies. I'm not going to go with what the SHO has said or what the beat constable on the spot has said, because he's the layman. He doesn't understand the implications or complications involved. Let an expert come and say, these are the forensic reports, this is what happened, this is the investigation, this is the interrogation report, and now we have come to a conclusion that this is what happened. And what about what Mr. Ranganathan was saying, Dr. Ranganathan, about HM's visit? In the army, we have a saying, one visit or one look is better than 100 reports. Now, tomorrow when the agencies will be briefing the Home Minister, and they will be saying, sir, याद है जहाँ पे आप खड़े थे उसके लेफ्ट साइड में जो पोल था, सर उस डायरेक्शन से ये हुआ, एंड ऐसे सामने जो एक बैरिकेड सा था उस तरफ से ये हुआ. So it becomes easy for the person to understand the future investigation, the way it is going. So, but notwithstanding what Dr. Rangana said has a merit, but still I would like to say I will wait for an official confirmation of whatever. Rest everything which is happening across are SOPs.
Right, SOPs. Very interesting, very interesting. So, Shantini, I just wanted to put that question to you too. I wanted to ask you, on this issue of deterrence and Pakistan, do you think there could be rogue actors, and you know Pakistan very well, who want to spoil the case for the ceasefire? And just before you answer that, a quick update. The Gurugram registered car with the following number plate, and I'm not going to mention the number, NI-20 was registered in the name of Muhammad Salman. Based on information received from the Delhi police, the Gurugram police detained Muhammad Salman for questioning. During interrogation, Salman revealed that he had sold his car about 1.5 years to a man named Devendra, a resident of Okhla, Delhi. Salman has handed over all the documents related to the car sale to the Gurugram police. Now, further investigations will take place in Okhla, where the car was first sold. During the investigation, it was later found that Devendra later sold the car to someone in Ambala. So I think someone was making the point, I think it was Mr. Modi who was making the point, that there was an eighth owner in the case of the car that was used in Pulwama. And the Ambala police are currently investigating the matter, and the Gurugram police are sharing all relevant information with investigating agencies. So you can see already that there has been a number of sales and purchases and so on and so forth. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan wanted to raise his hand. I want to bring in Sushant Singh right after. Yes.
Now, very briefly, just a point that more important than the identity of the owner or how many hands it passed was the journey that has to be traced. And I just found out that NCR is not just the most dense CCTV camera in the world; it is also the most linked CCTV camera operation in the world. So you would know the last 1 hour which road did this I-20 traverse. So as I said, I agree with General Dhillon. I have complete faith in the intelligence agencies, and I'm sure they've worked it out. It's just that we don't know. And again, as General said, if we don't know, it is because of a design of the intelligence agencies. They don't want us to be well-versed with all the details as yet.
Okay. Sushant Singh, very quickly, the question that I posed earlier to you.
I've forgotten what your question was.
Okay, the question was straightforward, that could there be the possibility of rogue actors spoiling the case for ceasefire in Pakistan?
Arey yaar, come on, Rahul. That is such a woke question to ask. Pakistan is a pretty rogue country, yaar. What rogue actors are you talking? Rogue actors in Pakistan are people who actually want peace with India. Those are the rogue players in Pakistan. The whole country is rogue otherwise. You are saying rogue actors. So perish the thought.
Okay.
Part and parcel of Pakistan's mental makeup. They want to impose terrorism on India. And they want to say that, okay, fine, we can keep pushing you because now we have Donald Trump on our back, we have Xi Jinping on our back, we have the Saudis on our back, and let's see what you can do to us. If indeed there is a Pakistani fingerprint found or a Pakistani evidence of a Pakistani involvement found, then they are very clearly telling you, here, this is what we are bringing to you. Let's see what you can do about it, because now Mohammed bin Salman, we have signed a deal with him. The Turks are with us. The American Donald Trump is our best friend forever now. And his entire cabinet does not have the fortitude to, defy him. So, and we are going to give him some crypto and other stuff. So he's going to back us. The Chinese are in any case on our back. And everybody else will come to our support. What can you do to us? So clearly the gauntlet is being thrown if indeed this is a Pakistani hand. And I can predict to you right now what scumbags in Pakistan who have great friends out here, like people in wires and other places who hold these shows and whose families have lost wars and still been rewarded. Those are people who will bring them on TV or their third-rate screens, where they will say that this was a false flag attack. You can be rest assured of that. So that is how the Pakistani propaganda mill is going to behave. And we have to be ready to understand how they are going to do it. But please perish the thought that there are rogue actors in Pakistan. The whole damn country is a rogue place.
Okay, very interesting. That's a very interesting angle. So there's absolutely no division in Pakistan about how to proceed with India. General Dhillon, I wanted to ask you, that's an interesting, just a thought experiment, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but does India's capacity to respond change after the diplomatic reconfiguration that has taken place? So you now suddenly see Trump and company cozying up to Pakistan, Pakistan singing his praises. You also have the Saudis that have been played onside by the Pakistanis. The Turkish are involved. The Chinese, of course, are the big brothers. I don't know what brothers they are, step brothers, real brothers, blood brothers, God knows. But they're also there in the equation. Does that change? If India were to respond tomorrow, would that change anything on the ground for us?
Rahul, no, it does not change. India stands on its 2 feet, and that is the reason these realignments are happening. India reserves the right to respond in the manner which it finds most suitable, depending on what the situation comes out tomorrow. So I am not at all bothered about what realignments are happening. And I am also very sure if India retaliates tomorrow, if suppose this is a terror attack from Pakistan and India retaliates tomorrow, Saudis are not going to come and fight along with the Pakistan against India. nor is going to Donald Trump going to come and stand next to Shahbaz Sharif. India will fight its own battle from its own strengths and against a rogue country, as Mr. Sareen is saying, that is Pakistan. So nothing is going to change. We have always dealt bilaterally with Pakistan, and we have bilateral relations with all the other countries which were named. And all the other countries which were named have interests, economic, strategic, and political and diplomatic within India. So it's going to be bilateral with all these nations and bilateral with Pakistan. That too, of course, it will be a force applied against Pakistan if it is proven that it was the Pakistani hand and it was a terrorist act.
So, Sareen, would you like to add to that?
No, I think I agree with what General Dhillon is saying, but I was not saying that we will be influenced by, what the others are doing. I think we have to understand that we have to do what we have to do, regardless of what anybody else is telling us to do. What I was telling you is how the Pakis think. The Paki mind, I'm trying to tell you. It's a pig's mind, but you have to understand when you're going to be getting into a fight with a pig, you have to understand how the pig thinks. So the pig's mind is that this is the kind of support that he has. And this is why the Indians will not or will have to think 20 times before they take any offensive action against the Pakistanis. So that is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that this is what is going to be the calculation in India or from the Indian security establishment. I don't know what the calculation is going to be. But clearly that is how they are going to estimate it. And we really need to start gaming this thing through. Because quite clearly, as we've learned from the Israeli experience, carrying out a few attacks on an enemy country does not really solve the problem. You have to be relentless. And frankly, you now have to start thinking of, some more drastic measures so that you don't have this menace on your border anymore. I don't want to elaborate on that, but I think we really need to start rethinking what this Pakistan problem is, cut it to size in many ways, and that is the way we need to go about it. It's not going to happen in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. It has to be a national project for the next 20 years. Maybe earlier we can do it. But I think that's the direction in which we need to start moving, because this is a cancer. It was a gangrenous part which we had cut off, right?
Yeah.
Both on the eastern and the western flank. But this gangrenous part has now started affecting our body. So you have to think of what you want to do with this gangrenous part. And unlike some people, in the Sangh who say that these are two arms of India, Mother India, I don't think these were gangrenous arms of Mother India and they had been cut off. I really wish people in the Sangh would also would take a reality check uh, and not mouth these virtue signaling tropes. You need to understand your enemy. This is what Shatru Bodh is all about. Understanding the enemy. And unfortunately, while we have started identifying the enemy, we still have not the capability of understanding the enemy.
Okay.
And I would really counsel that we start doing that.
So I have now two questions, one for Mr. Modi and one for Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, if this were to turn out to be an act of terror, taking into context what has also transpired over the last 48 hours, what would be the questions that you would want to pose to your government as a common lay Indian?
Absolutely no questions whatsoever. 100% backing and support as to the new doctrine. An act of terror is an act of war. I will stand behind my Prime Minister and he goes and attacks Pakistan again. No question. And I'll be disappointed if he does not attack Pakistan, because that would mean that we are not adhering to the new doctrine, and I'm proud of the new doctrine.
Mr. Modi, what would you say? What would be your initiative? Would you say that, okay, first of all, let's talk about the lack of, for example, intelligence that sort of led to this? Would you frame it that way, or would you say, no, time has come to scrap all of that? Let's take Operation Sindoor is still on, and all cards are back on the table.
No, I fully agree with Mr. Ranganathan that whatever new doctrine has come, developed by government, we must support government fully with all our political will, with all our whatever is required, we must support.
Okay.
But I think it's too early to talk about this thing at this stage, because it's a very government will have to take a very conscious decision in such matters. And as far as investigation is concerned,
Well,
let's concentrate on the investigation.
we've just got another likely to happen upon the return of Prime Minister from Bhutan. Wednesday evening, also cabinet has been scheduled. So that is definitely happening. We're also told that top agencies are investigating the incident with full intensity and will go in depth into the incident. This is Amit Shah statement that has been quoted to him, and he's also just tweeted. Let's just play out what Amit Shah said the second instance when he was speaking to the media.
दिल्ली में आज लाल किले के पास करीब करीब शाम को 7 बजे हुंडई i20 कार में एक ब्लास्ट हुआ है और ब्लास्ट के कारण कार और कार के आसपास के 3-4 व्हीकल और खड़े हुए लोग, ऑटो में बैठे हुए लोग इंजर्ड भी हुए हैं और कुछ मृत्यु भी हुई है। अस्पताल के सूत्रों के अनुसार अब तक 8 लोगों की मृत्यु हो चुकी है। कुछ लोग इंजर्ड हैं, इनका इलाज यहाँ पर चल रहा है। घटना किस कारण से हुई ये अभी कहना बहुत मुश्किल है। जब तक विस्फोट के स्पॉट पर से जो स्पेसिमेंस मिलेंगे, इसका जब तक एफएसएल का एनालिसिस, एनएसजी का एनालिसिस नहीं होता, इसके बारे में कुछ भी कहना दिक्कत है। मगर हम किसी भी एंगल को बंद नहीं मानते हैं। सभी एंगल का हम दृढ़ता के साथ आगे जांच करेंगे।
The Red Fort terror attack that has shocked not just the nation but the entire world, where at least 8 people have lost their lives this evening after a car exploded near gate number 1 of the Red Fort metro station in what officials now suspect was a terror-related incident. Now what we are learning is that the CCS meeting will take place when Prime Minister Modi returns from Bhutan. A call about the blast was received around 6:55 p.m. this evening, following which 7 fire tenders were rushed to the spot. The firefighters managed to bring the blaze under control, but all the security agencies are currently on the ground, including the National Investigation Agencies, the NSG, as well as the UP ATS. Home Minister Amit Shah met the injured at the LNJP hospital in the national capital. Over 20 people have been left injured in the wake of this blast. He's also conducted an inspection of the blast site. Let's take you through the visuals which emerged right in the wake of this explosion, ladies and gentlemen, which has claimed 8 lives. This is the first instance of the blast. As you can see, a fireball erupted in the middle of this parking area with so many vehicles and public around it. This, what the reports are telling us, is that an IED was used inside an i20 Hyundai car, which exploded. And as you can see, there were so many people around. The blast radius was massive, and so many people around in this public area next to the Red Fort metro station. This was clearly a planned area where the terrorists and where the attackers placed this particular IED inside the vehicle. If you can see the more visuals which are coming in from different angles, as we can see the aftermath of this blast, you can see that so many people gathered in this area to take videos of this particular blast. But as you can see, the fire continues to rage right after the blast, surrounded by so many mangled vehicles. 10 to 12 vehicles in the area were destroyed in the wake of that IED blast, and police were trying desperately to clear the site so that there are no more injuries. If we look at more visuals from the initiation of that blast, as you can see this entire auto was completely mangled, and the auto driver also injured in the wake of the blast. That was the ferocity by which this IED exploded in every direction, and you can see how the shock waves completely crippled this auto and injured this auto driver. from the blast. You can see these are the remains of the blast as cooling operations were underway. So many vehicles completely destroyed as the blast emanated from that particular Hyundai i20 and caused so much widespread damage. Earlier reports indicated it could have been a CNG blast, but you can just see the extent to which the damage has been caused. And an IED is what top sources have told us was used in this attack, where an IED was placed inside that Hyundai i20. And this is the devastation it has caused. 8 people have lost their lives and over 20 have been injured, currently receiving treatment at the LNJP hospital. So this is the scenario that has emerged, where all the agencies are on the ground to try to track down who is responsible for this terror attack. What we are learning is that the i20 Hyundai was owned by an individual named Muhammad Salman, who's been detained by the Haryana police. He had sold that i20 to a man named Devender 1.5 years ago. And now the question remains that that particular individual, Devender, he is also being questioned by the police. He said he has sold that particular car to someone in Ambala. There's a huge nexus that is now emerging when it comes to the ownership of that particular i20, and the agencies are cracking down to get to the bottom of the terrorists as well as the particular cell that could be involved in this deadly attack that has claimed 8 lives in the national capital, a huge jolt to the national security grid of the country. I'm joined by my colleagues Anshul as well as Anvit, who are getting us the latest from ground zero. Anshul, you've been tracking all the developments which have been coming in. Akash, has been tracking all the developments which are coming in, as well as Anvit reporting live from the blast site. Akash, over to you. What's the latest as the sanitization operations are still underway and the forensic teams as well as other agencies are on the ground gathering evidence?
Right, so I'm standing, very close to the site where this explosion happened at around 7 p.m. today, and I'll show you the visuals first of all, the sort of devastation that has happened because of the sort of explosion. There you can see a number of vehicles, that have been in fact destroyed because of the sort of explosion that we have seen in the evening today. And, there we have an Omni vehicle and in fact a number of police personnel. In fact, the agency is investigating as to what happened and, what was the nature of this particular explosion. It is a suspected terror attack, but right now Home Minister has said it categorically that we still don't know as to how it happened, under what circumstances, and only investigation will let us know as to what was the nature of this particular attack. Also, as far as the ground condition is concerned, so we have been given to understand that at least 9 people have lost their life and more than 15 are injured. This is one of the busiest areas of the national capital. This is Old Delhi area, where on one side we have the iconic Red Fort, and on the other hand, we have the Chandni Chowk market. And right now, this particular road leads to the Old Delhi railway station. In fact, Karthik is showing you the visuals where we have a number of ambulances, that have been stationed here because of the sort of casualty count that we had initially. And after that, we had, the agencies, NSG, crime branch of Delhi Police personnel, and in fact, the NIA that is very much investigating, the particular scenario. Also, as far as, last 48 hours are concerned, so we have seen a number of things. In fact, the explosives that were recovered from Faridabad, and in fact, the module, in fact, that was possibly, busted, in fact, in the morning today. We have been reporting that how, kilos of explosives was found in Faridabad. But right now, the whole focus is on this particular, explosion. Whether or not it was a terror attack, we'll get some sort of clarity after investigation. But right now, we have Delhi Police personnel and, in fact, the agencies very much investigating, and in fact, the crime branch of Delhi Police very much, taking care of the sort of destruction that has happened, and in fact, taking notes, of the kind of scenario and scene that they are seeing right now.
Right, and Anshul also is joining us on the broadcast, getting us the latest when it comes to the chain of events which took place in the run-up to this blast, and also right after it, as more and more agencies have been deployed on the ground to get to the bottom of who is responsible for this deadly terror attack that has jolted the entire nation. Anshul, what is the latest from ground zero? Home Minister Amit Shah was also inspecting the site along with the Delhi Police Chief, and more agencies have been deployed to gather evidence.
Well, yes, at this point in time, the administration is making sure that it leaves no stone unturned before reaching any conclusion over here, and that is the reason why the Home Minister himself stated that it is too early to come out with any conclusion, and that is exactly the reason why still there are senior police officers who are still present on ground zero, who are still trying to get a gauge of this entire situation, and the investigations are still underway. Out here at CNN News 18, we have been able to find the exact RC of the vehicle that was used in this blast. This vehicle had multiple owners. One of the first owners was Salman, who was initially detained by the Delhi police, and then he has been allowed to let go. Post this vehicle was sent to one Dharmendra, and then eventually to one Nadeem, is what the chain of events that has come to the fore. Who was present inside the vehicle? The person who's the person who was driving the vehicle, the three people who were inside the vehicle. Who were these people? They have still not been identified by the police. 2 people out of the 8 dead bodies that have been recovered have been identified. 6 unknown bodies are still lying at LNGP, whereas one body part, which is also of an unknown person. This could be a body part of the other bodies that have already reached LNGP, or this could be a body part of a new person as well. So 8 dead plus 1 unknown body part, along with that 20 injuries, is something that has now officially been confirmed from the side of LNGP. But still, the exact reason of the blast, why did the blast happen, how did the blast happen, that is something that has still not been cleared. I'll just try to show you yet again that the fire department vehicles are still present over here, and this is the exact red light where the vehicle initially slowed down, and then eventually the blast happened over here. You can see the vehicles of NSG right at the spot where the incident had happened. So definitely nothing has been ruled out at this point in time. Too early to come out with any conclusion, but prima facie, if you look at the kind of blast that has happened historically out here in the national capital, be it ID blast, be it RDX blast that has happened, it is not seeming like that at this point in time. But this could be a new modus operandi. Some new chemicals could have also been used, and that is something that is still being investigated. None of the angles, whether it was a terrorist attack or not, that has also not been ruled out at this point in time, and that is precisely the reason why national agencies like the NIA and NSG, who has a lot of experience with such explosions and explosives, they are trained in this particular manner, and hence they have been called in to look at the exact site and then carry out their experiments before reaching any conclusion. So tomorrow morning, as the Home Minister said, that he will have a meeting with all the senior officers from different agencies before reaching any sort of a conclusion. So it remains to be seen tomorrow morning what kind of conclusion will the investigation be reached upon. But at this point in time, nothing has been ruled out. All angles are open. This could be a CNG blast that could have happened. This could be a terror attack that could have happened. All these angles are still being looked into. Nothing has been ruled out. Too early to reach any conclusion. But 8 people dead, 1 unknown body part recovered, along with that 20 other people injured from this very spot.
Sure, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have just accessed the RC of the Hyundai i20, which was used for the blast. This is the same Hyundai i20 which supposedly had, as per top intelligence sources, the IED which exploded and now has led to the death of 9 people. That is the RC on your screen. As you can see, that the RC is in the name of Mohammed Salman, who has been detained by the Haryana police. You can see his name in the top left corner of the RC. The manufacturing date is 2013 and the validity of this RC is till 2029. So this was a valid RC, even though Mohammed Salman is saying that he sold the car to a man named Devendra. He did not change the main paperwork, the RC paperwork. The car is still in his name. You can see that the car number as well as his name is on the document associated with this car, which is valid up till 2029. And you can see that it's registered. The address has been registered in Shantinagar, Gurgaon, which is why he has now been detained by the Haryana police in connection to this terror attack. That is the details got to us by our reporters on the ground. As you can see, that is the individual on your screen, the owner, the original owner of the Hyundai i20, where the IED was supposedly fixed, which exploded outside the Red Fort metro station. Mohammed Salman, son of Mohammed Shahid, and the registration date is of 18th March 2014. The manufacturing date is is April 2013, and the validity is up till 15th of February 2029 as per the details of the RC. So clearly this car was in his name, even though he says that he sold it to other people. Now several reports suggest that this Hyundai i20 has gone through several ownerships, but the paperwork is in the name of Mohammed Salman, who has now been detained by the Haryana police. And that is Mohammed Salman on your screen, and that is the RC that CNN News 18 has accessed. You can see that this Hyundai i20 is registered to the address house number 63 on the 3rd floor of Shantinagar, Gurgaon, HR 122001 is the address on the RC. So this also throws up more questions. Who did Mohammed Salman sell it to? How did it go from Mohammed Salman to several owners, and then finally at the Red Fort, outside the Red Fort metro station where this blast took place? But the big question emerges, what is the chain of ownership surrounding this Hyundai i20? Anshul is also joining us on the broadcast. So Anshul, that is the big question at the end of the day. The paperwork is in the name of Mohammed Salman. That's what the agencies have to go with. But to move ahead, to crack the chain of ownership, to finally come to know which terror module is responsible for this attack, that is the big daunting task ahead of the agencies.
Well, definitely all these questions needs to be answered. Initial questioning with Salman has already been done by the Haryana police, and Salman has said that he further sold this vehicle to a person with the name Devender, and then eventually once Devender was also questioned, it has come out that this vehicle was also then the third owner, it was sold to a third owner who goes by the name Nadeem, and then eventually this blast has happened. So this is the exact sequence of how the owners had changed their how the owners of the vehicle had changed their hands, or how the vehicle had changed its hand amongst the owners. If you look at the RC very closely as well, it states that it is a model that has petrol and CNG, petrol / CNG both. So somewhere or the other, the CNG blast angle yet again cannot be ruled out, because that vehicle was having a CNG tank on its boot. Initial investigation by the Delhi police suggests that the blast happened on the rear side, that is near the boot of the vehicle, and from there, as the blast exploded, there were vehicles that were lined up behind it on this very red light itself. And once the blast happened, then the other vehicles also caught fire. There were a few e-rickshaws over here as well, and they had also been set on fire due to this blast. So definitely it can be said that the investigation is still underway. A lot of layers are still being unearthed. On one hand, where the police is trying to find out the exact owner and the whereabouts of the vehicle, because remember, according to Salman, he sold this vehicle over here in the national capital at Okhla, and then from Okhla this was sold to another person in Haryana itself, and then eventually this vehicle finds its way back out here in the national capital. If you look at the modus operandi of such attacks, generally, if at all such vehicles are being used, then the accused actually tries to somewhere or the other go and hide the number plate away from the vehicle, so that there is no direct connection that could be linked. But in this case, the number of the vehicle was very clearly visible.
Right.
In fact, the front end of the vehicle is still something that the police is looking into. So somewhere or the other, the indications that are coming to the fore, it is indicative that things would only clear up once the police clears up its investigation by tomorrow morning, and then eventually file a report in front of the Home Minister.
Right. So it is Mohammed Salman, Devendra, Nadeem, and then finally the information brought to us by investigations editor Manoj Gupta is that this individual on the right side of your screen, his name is Tariq from Shambura village in Pulwama. So the J&K link also emerging in this case. So this individual, Tariq from Shambura village in Pulwama, was he the last owner of this Hyundai i20 which was used in this terror attack? And has this finally cleared the link to terror cells in Jammu and Kashmir? I'm joined by my colleague Anand Narasimhan on the broadcast to get more details. So Anand, this is a huge development that is emerging. First, we learned that Mohammed Salman had sold this car to Devendra, and to figure out the chain of events, the big name emerging from this chain is this individual, Tariq from Shambura village in Pulwama.
Good evening. Ayushman, and to our viewers, see, this is big because Manoj Kumar Gupta getting us these details. We've also got confirmation with the image. The Haryana registration was perhaps to throw people off because the last owner of this used vehicle is from the Shambura village in Pulwama. And guess where the Pulwama connection takes us? The Pulwama connection takes us back to the ongoing investigation and the crackdown on this entire module. And the originator and the mastermind and the first arrest also happened. And there is a Pulwama connection to this, and a Jammu and Kashmir connection. Now we also understand why the Jammu and Kashmir police was also present at the Red Fort, and somewhere they all seem to be connected. Are there other people in this module? Are there other people who have had access to some of that explosive, making material that has been taken out, by nearly 3 tons of it? We have to wait and watch where the investigation proceeds. But this I-20 that blew up outside the Red Fort station with a Haryana license plate had a owner who belongs to the Shambura village of Pulwama, Jammu and Kashmir. And were these people connected? I think that's the next dot that would be lined if Dr. Muzammil, his accomplices, the other doctors, the person in Faridabad, the Maulvi there from whom the house was rented, this guy who buys the car, and the other occupants of the car, were they all connected and were they all linked? That's going to be the biggest question mark right now, and perhaps the investigators will be moving in that direction quickly.
Absolutely, and that is the big development that's coming in. As you can see, the RC of the vehicle on the left side of your screen in the name of Mohammed Salman, and the current owner is this individual named Tariq, who hails from Pulwama. So, but Anand, at the end of the day, this also brings up very troubling questions about the reach of these terror elements from across the border through the Kashmir Valley, now in the national capital. The busts that have been made in the Dhoj village in Faridabad, where close to 3,000 kilograms of IED making materials have been seized, along with rifles as well as ammunition. And now this link to J&K over a blast that has taken place in the heart of the national capital. The capacity of these cells to strike deep in the heart of India is something that will, raises a lot of questions for the security grid of the nation.
That our security agencies do not know where they're going to strike, where they're operating, where they're hiding. Sometimes right under the light itself, where it is darkest. So, but the fact is that our agencies have to get it right 10 on 10 times. These elements and these terrorists, they can go wrong 9 times, and they get it right once. That also can lead to loss of lives and innocence, and creating an unnecessary atmosphere that could derail the entire growth track that Bharat is on. The other part is that this is now very, very clear that the enemy is not going to mend its ways. So will there be an unpause button on Operation Sindoor? Will there be perhaps a far greater calibrated attack at trying to eliminate all those who continue to harbor these kind of entity elements, and also to try and push them? This also shows that there is a sign of desperation, that they really want to create something big, a series of blasts, etc., to create a certain amount of strife. Now, does this just limit itself to the enemy right across the border, or are there greater powers at play who really want to destabilize and derail Bharat's growth process? That's another question for another day and another debate itself, conversation itself. But these are all aspects that we have to consider when we look at this. The other thing is that there is also the enemy, these people who want to foment terror on Indian soil, are also looking at the non-kinetic measures. It's only a matter of time when this entire ISKP module that's been busted in Gujarat, there is a connection which connects back to these elements who are now pushing both kinetic and non-kinetic. When I say kinetic, is through explosive material, arms, ammunition, creating the traditional terror strikes and Fidayeen suicide attacks and bomb blasts, etc. But on the other hand, the non-kinetic option is where they start getting to using biochemical weapon systems like ricin, etc., that this doctor wanted to do, mix it in prasad at temples and also in water, at holy water, and create mass hysteria and deaths, etc., and also dent psychologically the belief system of Bharatiya people and their confidence, and try to unnecessarily instill fear in the mind of people and a certain level of panic. But somewhere our agencies have been able to crack down. And imagine if 3 tons of this explosive material had found its way all across the country. Imagine the number of blasts it could have triggered and the damage it could have done. So our agencies have been able to thwart a major terror module and a terror initiative. And this is going to set the enemy back a bit. But because the agencies are now much wiser to this entire modus operandi, but this will take a little bit of effort from the internal security-wise. It poses a great challenge, and one has to just see whether the dynamics of the tri-services exercise just assume a different dimension going forward in the coming days, given what has happened in Delhi today and what's unfolded over the course of the last 48 hours, and more importantly, over the course of the last week, ever since the first arrest was made by JK police in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir.
Right. Anand, at the same time, is it time that the security agencies also rethink how we look at OGWs? At one point, OGWs were only seen as terror supporters within the valley, providing logistics to terrorists coming from across the border. Now, with this entire cell that has been busted with an attempt to develop ricin, then the 3,000 kilograms of IED making material busted in Faridabad, and now the Pulwama link to the Red Fort terror attack. Should we now look at the OGW nexus as beyond Jammu and Kashmir? Is it time that there should be a nationwide sweep looking at these OGW networks that are emanating from Jammu and Kashmir?
Well, white-collar terrorists and white-collar terrorism was a phenomenon when they were called sleeper cells. And these were not ordinary people. And today we can see that there are highly radicalized elements among the highly educated population too. Who's radicalizing them? Who's seeded them? How long have they been seeded here? We have to wait and watch. Are these all people who have been radicalized in their youth and they've continued to go on living, and these people have just been activated to start collecting about 3 tons of ammonium nitrate, which is present in a lot in urea, is not easy because they've done so without raising suspicion. To have timers, to have other wires and other equipment to create and make IEDs, and also to walk around and have AK-47s, etc., along with multiple rounds of magazine, is not easy. It takes time to accumulate. So this means that this whole preparation has been in process for a while. But under whose directions and what is their motive, we'll have to wait and watch. But yes, we will have to double up the efforts and perhaps weed out some of these cells, sleeper cells, and some of these terrorists who have embedded themselves deep within Indian society. And they've tried to hide in plain sight. But kudos to our central agencies, our intelligence agencies, and also the state police, because for the state police functioning, machinery to coordinate with each other, cooperate with each other, and to work together in the interest of the country is a big step that we are taking. Because earlier we would see, police try to quibble over credit and also not allow access, and be using this entire internecine rivalries between the state police, etc. units. Terrorists and nefarious elements used to get away with trying to hurt innocent people, but all of that has stopped, and I think that's a big fillip. But like I said, our security forces are faced with this daunting challenge of not just shooting in the dark, but having to hit bullseye every time, because they've got to get it right every time. And for the terrorists, they can try 99 times out of 100, and just that once, if they get it right, they can wreak a lot of havoc and cause damage across at various levels. Physically, psychologically, emotionally, and of course nationally in terms of reputation of the country. So there are multiple dynamics, but this is a big step forward in the investigation, which perhaps closes the loop or perhaps makes someone lean towards what's happened in the last 48 hours and link it with that very terror module.
Right. Thank you, Anand, for getting us that update. Let's get to our guest over this huge development that is coming in of the Jammu and Kashmir link to the terror attack outside the Red Fort. Also joined by Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, security analyst, N.K. Sood, former RAW officer, N.N. Rao, former DCP of Delhi Police, and Tara Karta, former director of the NSCS. Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, I'll come to you first. This troubling link to Jammu and Kashmir now emerging as more and more details come in, as the chain of ownership of that particular car that was used for the car bomb, now that has come to light. It's a very troubling situation to even think that the OGW network and the terror nexus now has access to the heart of the national capital, where now 9 people have lost their lives.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the first rare blasts which has taken place in this manner. I think outside Jammu and Kashmir in last decade or so. So it is surely very troubling. And while we were just in the evening, we are thumping the back of the investigation agencies like Jammu and Kashmir Police and Haryana Police for having busted these couple of modules, which was itself a very major achievement when you ID preparing material is a major success what has been taken. But, I'll just like to tread into caution till the time an official brief is not out claiming this to be a mobile ID, which is blown up. And I just want to quickly point out to a couple of points. As brought out, slow-moving car, I-20, in the busiest location of possibly the country and surely in Delhi, in Chandni Chowk, in the evening when it's the most busiest time of the 24-hour cycle, when such a blast, which is directional, which takes place, front side is actually not blown off totally, but what I'm told is somewhere in the rear side where the CNG was there, and this is a combination of CNG and petrol vehicle. When such a blast which takes place, when large number of vehicles are parked or moving together, there is a sympathetic attack initiation which takes place, wherein burning has taken place for virtually about 20-25 minutes or other 30 minutes, where about a couple of fire tenders had to be pushed in for the thing. So is it because of sympathetic detonation which has taken place, or is it truly a mobile ID which was in place, which has gone off, right? And if we continue to believe on the line of thought which is coming out into the media but not to the official channel, then what is intriguing and what is challenging is that how fast a response was it in response to the apprehensions or busting of the two models which is done in the last 2 days. It is also a very quick pushback. While you have been able to take out 3,000 kgs worth and two models out, but here is something which we can still spring a surprise at will. It is actually virtually testing or challenging the entire security apparatus. It's a major signal message. So I'll really, really hope that it was not an ID, but if it is so, then I'm surely it is linked to a response to what has happened in the last about 48 hours in terms of recovery and busting of these modules. It is a reaction and naturally in your face action by Jaish-e-Mohammed or possibly Lashkar-e-Taiba. In this case, it looks like a Jaish-e-Mohammed, even because the elements were of Jaish-e-Mohammed. So I think that is what very important. But I just want to rest. My last argument is that time and again, the security forces will be, police forces will be put onto the spot. That where is the security ring which allowed this to happen? And I'll just go back to what Anand said, that the security forces have to come, have to actually hit the dot 10 out of 10 times. Rather, not 10 out of 10, number of things don't even come to the news of smaller discoveries and all international channel. But we have to understand that the terrorists need to just strike and be successful once. And this may be one of the times which has happened.
Right.
Thank you.
General D.P. Pandey, please stay with us. We'll get to our other guests as well, but we're getting a ground report from outside the home of Mohammed Salman, the original owner of the Hyundai i20. Let's get to that.
दिल्ली ब्लास्ट मामले में जिस i20 गाड़ी का बार बार जिक्र हो रहा है, वो गाड़ी मोहम्मद सलमान के नाम थी और मोहम्मद सलमान गुरुग्राम के शांति नगर इलाके के इसी मकान की तीसरी मंजिल पर किराए पर रहता था। यहाँ के जो मकान मालिक है उनका दावा है कि करीब 2016-17 में मोहम्मद सलमान अपने परिवार के साथ यहाँ पर किराए पर रहने आया था और वो एक निजी कंपनी में काम करता था, लेकिन 2020-21 के दौरान उसने इस मकान को खाली कर दिया था और यहाँ से उसने दूसरी जगह पर अपना घर ले लिया था। और उस दौरान यहाँ के जो लोग हैं उनका ये भी कहना है कि उसके परिवार का जो व्यवहार था वो बिल्कुल सही था, किसी तरह की कोई भी संदिग्ध चीजें उन्हें कभी नजर नहीं आई। लेकिन मोहम्मद सलमान जो है वो 2020-21 में इस घर को खाली करके जा चुका था। लेकिन अब जब दिल्ली में जब ब्लास्ट हुआ है और उसके बाद जो चीजें सामने आई हैं, तो उसके बाद एक के बाद एक ना सिर्फ दिल्ली पुलिस बल्कि गुरुग्राम पुलिस भी इस पूरे मामले को लेकर के जांच कर रही है। आखिरकार क्या सलमान की भूमिका थी और क्या कुछ नहीं थी। लेकिन ये बताया जा रहा है कि सलमान यहाँ पर अपने परिवार के साथ रहता था और उसकी 2 लड़कियां भी यहाँ पर उस वक्त मौजूद थी और यहाँ पर अब वो यहाँ से खाली करके जा चुका है। तो जाहिर सी बात है कि अब गुरुग्राम पुलिस के साथ साथ दिल्ली पुलिस इस पूरे मामले की जांच कर रही है कि आखिरकार इस पूरे मामले में सलमान की क्या भूमिका थी। माता जी, कब यहाँ पर सलमान रहने आया था, कब उसने इस मकान को खाली किया?
हुआ तो है कि कई साल हो गए, जब लॉकडाउन ना लगो जब गया यहाँ से।
तो यहाँ कौन कौन लोग रहते थे परिवार में उस वक्त?
परिवार में उसकी एक बीवी रही, उसकी 2 लड़की, ये जने रहे।
किस तरह का व्यवहार था यहाँ पे लोगों के साथ उसका?
भाई हमारा तो कोई मतलब ही ना, हमारा कोई लेन देन, हम तो नीचे रहे, वो ऊपर रहे, हमारा कोई मतलब ना।
तो अब कहाँ रहता है सलमान, इसके बारे में कोई जानकारी आपके पास?
भाई हमारे पास तो कोई जानकारी, पर लड़का मेरे पता, लड़का गया है, ले गए लड़का धोनेला गांव में, कोई गिरोवर कहिए फ्लैट, वहाँ में रहता बताए।
तो किस तरह का व्यक्ति था सलमान, क्या कोई संदिग्ध था?
वैसे तो बेचारा अच्छा था, कोई हमारे तो कोई मतलब ही ना हुआ। तो कोई लेना, मुसलमान है, हम हिंदू है, मुसलमान है, हमारा कोई मतलब ना, कोई खाने को, कोई पीने को, कोई लेने को, कोई देने को। भाई हमारे किराया दे रहो तो रह रहो।
बिल्कुल। तो मोहम्मद सलमान जो इसी मकान में रहता था, जो मकान मालिक उनका कहना है कि करीब 2020-21 में उसने इस मकान को खाली कर दिया था और 2016-17 में वो इस मकान में अपने परिवार के साथ रहने आया था, लेकिन इस वक्त वो यहाँ पर मौजूद नहीं है। इस घर को खाली किए भी उसको करीब 4 से 5 साल हो चुके हैं। अब दूसरी जगह पर वो रह रहा है, लेकिन गुरुग्राम पुलिस और दिल्ली पुलिस इस पूरे मामले की जांच कर रही है कि दिल्ली ब्लास्ट में जिस गाड़ी का नंबर आया है वो पहले मोहम्मद सलमान के नाम ही थी, लेकिन ये भी बताया जा रहा है कि मोहम्मद सलमान इस गाड़ी को किसी और व्यक्ति को बेच चुका था। धर्मवीर शर्मा, न्यूज़ 18, गुरुग्राम।
Right, so that is the update that's coming, that in 2016-2017, Mohammed Salman, the original owner of the I-20, he had taken that room on rent in Shantinagar in Gurugram, and he had emptied it in 2020 and 2021. That's when he emptied that room. But the name on the RC is Mohammed Salman, and the address is of that home that he vacated in 2020-2021. But the big update that's coming in, that through the chain of ownership, the final owner of that car was a man named Tariq, man on the extreme right of your screen, who hails from Pulwama. N.K. Sood and Tarakarta also continue to be with us. N.K. Sood, I want to ask you about the analysis of General D.P. Pandey. Do you agree that given the fact that the modules in Gujarat, where they were attempting a ricin attack, while the module in Faridabad, where almost close to 3,000 kilograms of ID making material was seized by the security forces, given the action against these two particular modules, it spurred another terror element to conduct this attack outside the Red Fort?
Actually, I think all three are interconnected, all the three. And second thing I would like to say, that it is Pakistan's national policy. Terrorism is Pakistan's national policy. Pakistan hasn't learned. Even after Operation Sindoor, Pakistan is shifting their terror camps to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They were previously being operated from POK, but they have shifted to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and they are shifted in a small camp. And one more thing is that the main conspirator, according to me and to my friends, is Azhar Mahmood. Azhar Mahmood, when the Operation Sindoor was launched, Azhar Mahmood's 10 members of his family were killed, And Azhar Mahmood has even raised another organization, women's wing of his Jaish-e-Mohammed, Burqa Wali ladies, And Azhar Mahmood has links with ISI Khorasan. And this link has been established by Pak ISI. You see that Operation Sindoor has totally shaken Pakistan. But Pakistan has never left this policy of terrorism against India. So Pakistan is continuing with terror policy, Pakistan's Asim Munir, he has been threatening India with nuclear attack, or even after his defeat in the Operation Sindoor. So Pakistan will never leave this. They will never leave this policy. Pakistan's policy is to bleed India. It will continue to bleed India unless India reciprocates.